Go ahead and send it. It's good enough. How many of us have said that phrase when we know in our hearts it's not good enough? Today, Paul's going to show you how to move beyond that into great. Stay tuned. This episode of Keeping It Real is brought to you by Real Geeks. How many homes are you going to sell this year? Do you have the right tools? Is your website turning soft leads into interested buyers? Are you spending money on leads that aren't converting? Well, Real Geeks is your solution. Find out why agents across the country choose Real Geeks as their technology partner. Real Geeks was created by an agent for agents. They pride themselves on delivering a sales and marketing solution so that you can easily generate more business. Their agent websites are fast and built for lead conversion with a smooth search experience for your visitors. Real Geeks also includes an easy-to-use agent CRM. So once a lead signs up on your website, you can track their interest and have great follow-up conversations. Real Geeks is loaded with a ton of marketing tools to nurture your leads and increase brand awareness. Visit realgeeks.com/keepingitrealpod and find out why realtors come to Real Geeks to generate more business. Again, visit realgeeks.com/keepingitrealpod. And now, on to our show. Today's episode is brought to you by Corded.io. Are you looking for agents to join your brokerage or team? Now, as a real estate recruiter, I can tell you the answer is always yes. But most agents aren't looking to move right now. So how do you know who to contact? Well, what if I were to tell you there's a recruiting and retention tool powered by artificial intelligence that shows you exactly which agents in your local market are looking to leave their brokerage right now and which agents at your own firm are also looking to leave you? Now, I've been recruiting realtors for 15 years and I've hired over 2,000 agents. I can tell you with no exaggeration, this is the tool I've been waiting for. Corded's AI looks for trends across dozens of variables for each agent in your market and shows you which agents they believe are likely to move. Not only does it do that, but Corded's AI went and visited my recruiting website and read everything I offer. So now when I'm recruiting, Corded's AI tells me exactly what to say based on that agent's needs and what my brokerage can offer. It even writes emails for me. I've never seen anything like it, and I use it every single day. Now, if you are looking to grow your brokerage, Corded.io is the best tool out there. Visit Corded.io to schedule a demo. Again, that's Corded.io. And now, onto the show.
Are you settling for good enough? That's the conversation. That's the question. That's the theme of today's episode of the inner game of real estate success. My name is Paul Salter. I'm a mindset and performance coach, and I use hypnosis to help my clients get out of their own way by dismantling the destructive patterns of thinking, feeling, believing, and behaving that keep them stuck in a pattern of 2 steps forward and 3 steps back. And every last Thursday of the month, I have the absolute privilege of connecting with you, of hosting the show within the Keeping It Real podcast that's dedicated to helping you get out of your own way and achieve your potential. And today, we're going to attack that question. Are you settling for good enough? We're going to attack it with vulnerability, with honesty. We're going to look at it from multiple different angles, with the goal being, first and foremost, to empower you with the courage to answer that question honestly. Are you settling for good enough? And more importantly, to empower you with the tool and perspective shifts you need to begin calibrating on demand when it's effective and appropriate to sprint, to keep going, to become outstanding and elite, and how to intentionally sprinkle in those essential periods of rest, recovery, and recharging so that you can continue to go, grow, and achieve your potential. And it's a phenomenal question. Are you settling for good enough? This theme of good enough. I mean, first and foremost, what is good enough? At times in your career, and I have an imagination this is true for you because it's absolutely true for me. And like you, I'm wired to go, go, go. I struggle to slow down and acknowledge the wins, the accomplishments, achievements, and results I or even my clients have experienced, because it's on to the next one. It's bigger, it's better, it's stronger, it's faster, it's go, go, go. And it creates an interesting dynamic because there's always that part of me that would like to really slow down a bit. I mean, the grind is exhausting, depleting emotionally, mentally, physically. And at times it's that voice like, am I settling for good enough, that propels me? It's my fuel. But it toes a very fine line, because inevitably that voice can sometimes be destructive, counterproductive. And there have been many moments in my career, as I imagine there have been in yours, where good enough may have felt like, for you, having climbed the highest peak. It's landing that dream job, landing that dream sales account. It's hitting your first 7-figure year or 6-figure year, your first 5 or 6-figure month, whatever your unique goals are. And it's a fucking celebration. It's exciting. But what happens is when you achieve this goal that you've had your sights set on for a long time, that's requires some sacrifice, some enduring of uncomfortable situations, emotions, and experiences, you begin to grow comfortable. And inevitably what happens is you mistake this peak accomplishment as having climbed to the highest peak, and you get excited, yet you get complacent, you get comfortable, when in reality it's merely a plateau on your journey. So whether it's achieving your best month, your record year, hiring and building your team, landing an account, a property, a listing, inevitably this experience becomes climbing the first summit of many en route to achieving your peak potential. But because you've already sacrificed so much, you've endured so much discomfort, there's a part of you that wants to slow down. Whew, it was exhausting. It took a lot. Shouldn't I just celebrate? Shouldn't I enjoy the fruits of my labor? But if you're tuning into this podcast, I have an imagination that deep in the recesses of your mind, it's like there's this nagging feeling, this late night whisper, this late night voice that typically arrives somewhere between 2 and 4 a.m. in those moments of darkness, quietness, and solitude when you should be sleeping. But it's this voice that keeps you up, reminding you that you're capable of more. And that this so-called good enough illusion you've begun to paint a picture of and tell yourself is merely that, it's an illusion. Because candidly, it's not good enough. Because you're destined for more. You're capable of more. And it's a disservice, not only to yourself, but to your loved ones, those around you who look up to you, to settle, to remain complacent, comfortable with good enough. So why does good enough feel comfortable? Why are you settling for good enough? Well, we can approach this from 3 lenses. Number 1, good enough can feel comfortable. Good enough inevitably becomes familiar. And comfort and familiarity breed feelings of safety. And the reason that's so important is your subconscious, home to your memories, emotions, beliefs, and habits. Your subconscious, responsible for 95% of what you do every single day, has one primary objective: to keep you safe. And good enough feels comfortable and familiar, which again breeds these feelings of safety. And when I was really digging into some of the research and preparing my thoughts around this question, are you settling for good enough? I really like to think of it as, positioning yourself relative to the population or those in your industry. Are you in the top 10, the top 5, or the top 1% of agents, lenders, brokers, or otherwise? And this is my interpretation and framework of how I coach and educate around this. But I think about being in the top 10% as being pretty damn good. And candidly, depending on your upbringing, your environment, your social circle now, being in the top 10% of what it is you do may leave you completely above who you spend the majority of your time with in terms of how you measure success, not above them as a person, but if you're measuring success financially, if you're measuring success on paper by status, position, accomplishments, being in the top 10%, it may position you to be leaps and bounds ahead of those you spend the most time with. You're the big fish in the small pond, which means people look up to you. You have no shortage of opportunity to receive consistent validation and praise. Oh my goodness, Jenny, look how much you've accomplished. Or Carl, I can't believe you got and closed that listing. And when you're in that dynamic of being the big fish in a small pond, it's fucking easy to grow comfortable. You get all of this praise. You see that again, depending how you measure success, you're much further along than your peers, those you spend time with. And it's easy to fall into this autopilot, this cruise control, to stop pushing and doing what you needed to do to get to this position, which inevitably begins to breed feelings of comfort, familiarity, and ultimately safety. The top 5%. If you're in the top 5% of what you do, the way that I would describe you is you are outstanding. And I love this word. If you've listened to a couple of these last Thursday of the month episodes with me here on the inner game of real estate success, you know I'm big on word choice, the nuances, the granularity of meaning, energy, and emotion of words. I love outstanding because if we flip outstanding around, it literally suggests you are standing out. And this brings in the second lens through which we need to examine the question, are you settling for good enough? Because to stand out is fucking scary. Remember, you've heard me say this multiple times. You, me, we are both hardwired with 3 core fears: fear of judgment, rejection, and abandonment. And we can extrapolate these and have different labels: fear of failure, fear of embarrassment, fear of making a mistake, because they may lead to judgment, rejection, and abandonment, fear of success, which is really the undercurrent of this conversation. But long ago, if you were judged, if you were rejected and ultimately abandoned by your tribe, you either starved to death or that wonderful saber-toothed tiger had a delicious dinner with your well-being. But those fears, although they're primal and they seem so silly and outdated, they're as visceral and real as ever before. And if you want what the 5% have, you must be willing to do what the 95% won't. You've got to stand out, separate yourself, distance yourself, because here's the candid truth. Average, normal in America today is fat, lazy, unhappy, stressed, depressed, and broke. You can't be doing what the majority is doing. To be outstanding, you need to stand out. You need to be in that 5 percentile to be outstanding. And that's going to require thinking, doing, and being differently. Which really invites in the third lens through which we're examining this question. Do you believe that you are deserving, worthy, and capable of being outstanding, of going even further into the top 1%, which I would label as the elite, top tier, the best of the best of the best? Do you believe that you are worthy, deserving, and capable? if you do not, then you find great ease and satisfaction settling for good enough. But the truth is, although settling for good enough feels comfortable, looks good, and it's a sweet little story to tell yourself, like, hey, I make X amount of money, I've got these listings, I have these relationships. You and I both know there's that nagging voice, that nagging feeling like you're capable of more, that you're not living to your potential. But it's a collection of having grown so comfortable with this, of being fearful of success, being fearful of being judged or rejected for continuing to push and desire to achieve more. You know these voices, these feelings, these beliefs, this uncertainty. Am I good enough? Do I deserve that? Can I do it? They fucking keep you up at night. And they wear on you. They're heavy, exhausting, depleting. And if you continue to attempt to run from them, ignore them, repress them, suppress them, they just grow louder. They just drain your energy even more. And the longer you ignore them, the harder it becomes to take the action necessary to get out of this rut of good enough, because you're constantly depleting energy by being inauthentic. You're selling yourself short, dimming your light, playing small. And consider this conversation the permission you didn't know you needed to go big, to dream bigger, to do bigger, to take the massive action. Because settling for good enough is costing you so fucking much. It's holding you back. It's hindering you, hurting you, draining, exhausting your precious mental, emotional, and physical energy. And it's doing more harm than good. It may not feel that because you've got incredibly creative at telling yourself just how good you have it. Everything's fine and dandy. Stop lying to yourself. I know that's the second big point I want you to take away today in answering this question. Are you settling for good enough? And you have to be honest with yourself. You have to be honest with yourself. Your subconscious and hell, the world around you recognizes when you are being dishonest and incongruent. And you know it too, because you feel it, you breathe it, you live it, you experience it every single day. And again, it's because there's no shortage of temptation and reminders around you, especially if you are the big fish in a small pond, because from the outside, good enough might look fucking great to those you spend the most time with. But is it what you want? Are you capable of more? Do you believe you're deserving and worthy of more? Are you willing to embrace the discomfort and the scared sensations you're experiencing and to take courageous action anyway? Are you willing to get uncomfortable? Are you willing to expand not only who you are as a human, but your net worth, your bank account, your network, the number of lives you impact and successfully change? Something to think about. And I hope I am stirring up all kinds of thoughts and discomfort in this conversation. Now, here's where things get interesting. Another unique layer to this multifaceted layer in question of, are you settling for good enough? I've had the privilege of working with individuals at the top of their industries, different sports. And what's really fascinating about these individuals who on paper, it looks like they've done it all for so long. Many of them don't feel like they're doing enough, don't feel like they've done enough. And upon hearing that, your mind may quickly go to, imposter syndrome. I feel that. I relate to that. But what's unique about these individuals, and one of the many reasons they've had the success they've had to climb into the top 5 and inevitably the top 1% of their industry, is that they use this feeling, this story, with incredible intentionality. They use it as fuel. Feeling that they haven't yet done enough is the fuel that catalyzes taking relentless, massive action. They don't let these feelings, these thoughts weigh them down, keeping them stuck wallowing inactive with a victim's mentality. No, they let this question, have I settled? Am I capable of more? Can I accomplish more? They allow that to guide their efforts, to serve as fuel to keep going and growing. Do you do the same? Or do you let it weigh on you? Heavy, depleting, draining, exhausting, overwhelming. I can't say it again. I can't say it enough, rather. You've got to be honest with yourself. Is good enough really good enough? Are you okay? Are you content, at peace? Because there is zero judgment here. You're the only person who can answer that question. Or are you capable of more? Are you destined for more? Were you put on this earth because you're capable, worthy, and deserving of more? Here to leave an impact, to change the lives, to create generational wealth. Now, the last part I want to examine around this question of are you settling for good enough is the fact that you cannot be outstanding or elite in every area of your life. That is a surefire recipe for overwhelm, burnout, and self-destruction. If you want to be outstanding, you'll have to be okay with good enough in some or maybe most areas of your life. Because again, if you try to be outstanding in every single area, then you're on a path for overwhelm, burnout, and mediocrity. And I'll use a very relatable example. If you are the hard-charging CEO, real estate agent, grinding, because you're on a quest to become outstanding and inevitably elite, and you have the recognition and awareness that having a consistent exercise regimen is a must, it's non-negotiable. Well, in a perfect world, if you wanted to be outstanding and elite in your fitness, you might have 5 fully optimized 75 to 90-minute workouts per week. But because that's not the specific domain of your life you want to be outstanding and elite, your career, your profession is where you want to shine brightest. Instead, maybe you have 3 highly effective yet highly efficient 45-minute workouts per week, because that's good enough. It does what you need it to do. It keeps you fit, clear, strong, energized. It helps manage your stress and emotions. And it's good enough. And that decision made with intentionality is what allows you to have the prerequisite energy necessary to be outstanding. And I want to remind you, as a listener to this podcast, you could be doing no shortage of other things right now, but you're here intentionally spending this time to get better, to begin thinking differently, doing differently, so you can be differently and achieve differently. You are capable. You are deserving of being outstanding. Give yourself permission to keep going, to keep growing on your path to being outstanding. I thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of the Inner Game of Real Estate Success. It's an absolute pleasure getting to join you the last Thursday of every single month. And I really hope that your mind is spinning, that I gave you a lot to chew on today, to really begin getting honest with yourself. Am I settling for good enough? And I'll expand briefly for a moment here. This doesn't just apply in your career, your profession, your business. Are you settling for for good enough in your marriage, in your romantic relationships, in your parenting relationships, in some of your passions and hobbies. I have an imagination. A lot of you are golfers. I know that because I work with a lot of real estate agents who are passionate golfers. They're trying to win their club championship. They're trying to be the best they can be. Where in your life are you settling for good enough? And where is that okay? It's intentional. You've given yourself permission so that you can have the energetic and emotional bandwidth to go all in on being outstanding and elite in the area that matters most to you. Whew. And if you can't feel the energy and passion I have for this topic, I don't know what to say to you, but I'm grateful for you. I love talking about this. I hope you leave this conversation feeling empowered, inspired, reflective, and you continue to take action, because action alleviates anxiety and asking for help accelerates results. If you're ready to go deeper, if you're ready to eliminate what's holding you back, keeping you stuck once and for all, I'd love to have a conversation with you. I'd love to invite you to use the link in the show notes to schedule a mindset coaching discovery call with me to better understand where and how you're getting in your own way, and allow me to work with you collaboratively to begin dismantling the destructive mindset programs keeping you stuck so you can go, grow, expand, and achieve your potential. And if you found today's episode helpful, if it helped shift your mindset or gave you a new perspective, I'd love for you to share it with another realtor, lender, broker who's also ready to grow. Until next time, keep showing up, stay grounded, and remember, your greatest edge is the one between your ears.